Hey, welcome to Love Liberate. I'm Emilie, your host. I'm a self-leadership coach, embodiment teacher, artist, and an activist for love. Now, I don't mean the fluffy kind of love. I'm talking about the real, the raw, confronting kind of love, the kind that cracks you wide open and liberates you, creating a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Because that is what I believe life truly is about. So through personal stories and inspiring, soul-stirring conversations on all things healing, embodiment, and spirituality, I'll help you navigate the good, the bad, and the ugly with tangible tools, fresh perspectives, and of course, a truckload of love. Here's to loving and liberating, one heart at a time. Hello lovers, welcome back to another episode. I'm super happy you're here. I don't know who you are, but I love that you are. Today's episode is, it's a tender one. I mean, they all are, seems to be. But today is particularly tender because I'm speaking from the place that I'm at right now, which is very vulnerable. I'm in physical pain. And I'm navigating, trying to make my way through it. Now, from my perspective, physical pain is always connected to some kind of emotional or spiritual situation that is going on in your life. And even if the pain is not connected directly to something, it will bring forth or elicit some kind of emotional or spiritual challenge, because being in pain, we're not really used to it, are we now? But I'll just start with the story of how I got here. So I had a family constellation on Saturday, and a family constellation, it's work that I've talked about previously on the podcast. You can research about it, but I'll just give you a very brief summary of what the work is about. You basically use your body to feel the energy of a certain dynamic and certain energies that are ruling your family system and your energetic nervous system and your life, basically, for that matter. And so I went to do my own family constellation, which means that we've been looking at my family system. And then in a family constellation, first you look at what is there, and then you allow for whatever is being seen, to be felt, and to move through you. So it can put a certain strain on your body, because your body is actually the instrument. Which obviously our bodies are the instrument of life, because if we didn't have a body, we wouldn't be walking around alive. So that's just a little piece of science, as far as science goes in my head. Anyway, so I had my family constellation done. It caused quite the movement in me. And the next day I woke up and I had some kind of pain in my tailbone, and I was like, okay, well, I know pain in my tailbone, so that's okay. Let's just go about our day. And I started walking up the hill that I am walking up every day now, as like some kind of devotional practice. Rain or sunshine, you go up the hill and you come back down. And doing my hill with my friend, and we're almost at the top, but all of a sudden my back it kind of feels like it literally breaks. So I'm only 37 years old. I'm not supposed to have a back breaking on me. I'm no kind of like crazy athlete. I don't do crazy stuff. Like, it's a weird situation to be in when your back is giving up on you, when you're not really doing anything weird. So I'm there with my friend, luckily, but the pain is so intense that I break down to the ground, and I'm screaming in pain, literally screaming and crying. And that in itself is an extremely vulnerable place to be in. Because I think we're used to pain, we're used to powering through pain, and we're also used to, saying like, no, that's enough, that's it, up until there, let's just stop right now. But having your body overpower your shame, your everything basically, and just make you crumble, and not being able to put one more foot in front of the other in the middle of the woods, it's very humbling. I can tell you that. It's very humbling. And so my friend, she went back and had to pick me up with the car and literally like drag me into the car and then drag me into bed. All of that, I don't know whether you ever experienced something like this. There's this beautiful scene in Sex and the City where Miranda has something shooting up her neck or back, and she's crippled, and she calls Carrie to help her out. And anyway, her boyfriend shows up, Aiden. It's very unfortunate. Long story short, it is so vulnerable to be in such pain that, one, you need to reach out for physical, like actual physical help, and two, that like the pain is so overpowering that you're literally screaming and crying. So that happened. That in itself was already, like I said, pretty humbling. And then I came back home. Obviously, I don't know what's really going on, but I do see the connection to the work that I'd done previously, like the day before. So it did make some kind of sense, and it wasn't too much out of the blue, but the intensity was definitely not making any sense and very much out of the blue. Of course, my mind goes all places, thinking I'm never going to be able to walk again, but that's another episode. That kind of ridiculous anxiety and the way your mind takes you to places, that's a whole other episode. But let's just stay right here on track, where I'm literally disabled for the time being, and I'm bedridden. That goes on for one day, then the next day things are a bit better, but definitely still not good. The first day, to be clear, like it was the kind of back pain that didn't even allow me to stand up right. Like I had to crawl myself to the bathroom. So comes the next day, I'm feeling better, but definitely still not all right. And my friend, she brings me my grocery shopping, which is also humbling. And she is taking care of me in a way that it's just insane to find yourself completely mentally clear, but physically out. And that means my mind is still working over hours, like it's functioning way too good. And yeah, I start questioning, why am I here? What's the purpose? I start questioning, am I doing enough? Did I do something wrong? What's my responsibility here? How can I get myself out of this? All of the thoughts that I can understand why they're there, but they're not really helpful, not to the process of healing, and also not to the actual experience of being there and having that pain and being, not able to do anything. So at some point, my friend, she sits on the side of my bed, and she's holding my hand, and she's looking at me, and I feel so ashamed and embarrassed and vulnerable. And in the same time, I feel so grateful and so seen and loved, so profoundly and so deeply loved and taken care of. And all these feelings, the most precious feelings we can feel in this human experience, in my in my personal opinion. They're so hard to find when you're in the middle of the grind, when you're hustling, when you're going, when you're fast and like doing all the things that you have to do, and you're like bam, bam, bam out there. And now all of a sudden I find myself in such a vulnerable and undesirable, essentially, position. But all of a sudden, love comes flooding in. And it made me realize that this whole idea of worthiness connected to what we do, what we achieve, and how we perform, and what we bring to the table in terms of actions is so overrated. And not only overrated, it's also completely taking us away from this experience of receiving love and care. Not to say that this is going to be an advocacy for being impaired, physically impaired, or not being able to move. I don't recommend, but it did make me stop and think, what are we doing? And how come that it's so hard for me to find meaning, purpose, to feel worthiness, to feel valuable when I'm no longer doing, when I'm literally just being? And I had time to think. And I started reading Martha Beck's book, The Way of Integrity. She describes integrity as being whole, as oneness, as everything is included. That means all parts of you, like all your feelings, your thoughts, your desires, beliefs, they're all working together. They're not split. They're not in conflict. They are not divided. It means to be living in accordance with your true nature. Like what you really feel, what you really know, what you deeply want and desire, and living true to those values instead of living up to culture or upbringing or expectations that people or culture or world tells you what you should be doing or achieving or wanting. That also means that it is very personal and specific to every single person out there. So there's no one way of being in integrity. That is highly personal and specific to you and you only. And she says this is the cause, not being in integrity is the cause of anxiety, stress, depression, all kinds of undesirable feelings and attitudes towards life. And as I'm reading this, I'm understanding that it makes a lot of sense, basically. And that what I'd been doing the first days of my bedriddenness was beating myself up about the fact that I wasn't producing or doing anything, that I wasn't contributing to, and then to what really? To ... Like, now you need to know that at this moment, I have this friend of mine who was on the hike with me and who brought me my food and who was taking care of me. She also has a completely opposite life to mine. She is full power. She's full on right now. She is working her ass off and she is doing all the things that she needs to do to take care of herself, which in her phase of her life right now is completely opposite to what I need to do to take care of myself right now. And that is also a very confrontational duality that we both face, because what she needs right now and where she's at right now is complete opposite to me. But what she's doing, it looks like exactly what one needs to be doing in order to be successful, to achieve, to she's on. She's full on. She's always working and she's always going hard. I'm not there right now. I don't have the capacity, and I'm just not there right now. So to me, it's super confronting to see everything that she's doing and everything that she's achieving while I'm feeling like I'm not really achieving in general. And then on top of that, my back breaks and I'm literally not able to do anything. So that made me think and feel. Also, more importantly, it made me feel. And it confronted me with how I think about myself when I'm not achieving and when I'm not doing. So as I'm reading this book of Marta Beck's, I'm super inspired to look at myself from another perspective and to not see myself as some kind of failure, not being able to achieve or do something right now, but I can see that integrity today for me means such and so, and for somebody else means something else. And so I'm starting to make this division in between what it is that I want and need and what I think, believe that the world wants and needs from me. But it's challenging because I look at my friend and I just think that she's amazing. She's awesome. She's doing all the things. She's doing all the right things. And I think I'm doing all the wrong things. Now, luckily, I've also been reading an amazing autobiography of Andre Agassi. He's a former professional athlete, a tennis player, and he wrote an incredible autobiography. I highly recommend. I'll put all the books and everything in the show notes. And he, as a professional player, he was constantly thriving for the win, constantly achieving, constantly looking for the next mountain to climb, for the next peak, the next summit to conquer. And at a certain point in his career, he reaches another goal, and it's amazing, and a gold medal, and a this and a that, and at some point he realizes that the win, the sweetness of the win takes just a few days before it subsides, but the horror of the loss stays with him forever, almost. And he, at some point, starts to build a school. He has this project for children who come from difficult home situations and of abuse, and he builds a school. And then he all of a sudden understands, wait a minute, this gives me so much more gratification than any of the things that I've ever achieved before. Finally, he feels like he is serving the world and using whatever he was given and what he also obviously worked like a truckload for. And he's using it for the better. He's using it for something that makes sense to him. All of a sudden, he feels in integrity with himself and with his values. And this crazy story of this crazy athlete reaching the most insane goals and being applauded for by the entire world and being cheered on and also shat on, obviously, because that's also what we do, which is a whole other episode, but not for now. But so we're cheering for him, and we think he's amazing and he's invincible and everybody wants a piece of him, and oh my God, we love you, and the media love him. And in the end, the thing that makes him love himself most is doing that charity work. And also later on, he goes to create his own family, and that's also another source of fulfillment that he finally finds and reaches that is nothing compared to all of the wins and all of the achievements that he had in his career, which is probably the most sobering knowledge, the most sobering, I imagine for him as well, experience to realize everything that I've been striving for, everything that I put all of my time and energy in is just not worthwhile. Like, it's not what makes me fundamentally happy. And so I started thinking about all these ways in which we constantly cheer each other on for hustling and for powering through and for breaking our backs and still going. That's cool. That's amazing. Have you heard the story of this guy who couldn't walk anymore, but then all of a sudden he just had this surge of adrenaline and he still made it to the end of the match and then he won? Many of those wins of Agassi's were against his body, against everything that was actually healthy for him. But then everybody's around him cheering him on and, well, also making money off of his back, obviously. But again, that's another episode. But this concept of cheering for hustling, cheering for, here you almost died and then still you kept going and then you made it. And yes, of course, in certain situations like birth, for example, which is a near-death experience that every of your mothers have been through, yes, then you power through because there is life literally on the other end of that tunnel. But there are so many ways in which we force ourselves and push ourselves way beyond our own edges. For what? I am so done with this hustle culture that we've created. I am so done with cheering people on, this sadomasochistic route that we're all sent on by culture, basically, because it's not a natural thing to do. It's not a natural thing to do unless survival depends on it. And that's the crux. That's what we believe. We believe our survival depends on achieving, on being something that is admirable, on pushing through when actually we want to let go. And that, I believe, is one of probably the biggest illnesses of our society today. And I would love to be an advocate for rest and for softness and for love instead of hustling, grinding, pushing. Now, I'm not saying that I'm there. Like, I am not a guru. I'm not enlightened. I haven't made it all the way to levitating at all. Like, I'm pretty much the opposite right now. But I do feel that this idea of, can we just all take it down a notch and can we just like figure out what it is that makes our hearts levitate and not make us look like we are some kind of champion, but what makes me feel like a champion? And so what happened just now, and this is why I'm recording the episode from this place instead of waiting for the vulnerability to subside and to speak to you from a place of strength again. The reason why I'm speaking to this right now is because what just happened was I wanted to go out again. I was like, I think I'm ready. Vamos, let's go. And then my friend was there with me and I'm all packed up to go. And all of a sudden I'm like, uh-oh. I don't think this is a good idea. But I'm like, yeah, if I just have to leave now. And then maybe I won't feel it that it's too soon. Or maybe, I don't know, whatever. And my friend, she looks at me and she's like, babe, if you're not feeling well, maybe just wait one more day until you're actually feeling well. And then you can enjoy and then it's going to be all fine. Maybe this is not the right time just yet. And again, I break, and I'm like, oh, but I want to be part of the world again. I want to live again. And I know it sounds so dramatic, but that's the feeling, the feeling of not being able to literally do anything is so debilitating in our society. And I'm sure there must have been moments in your life that you can relate to where you felt like, I want to do and I want to perform or I want to achieve. Maybe it can be any kind of situation where you felt inhibited to do so and felt so overpowered, and having to look at yourself in the mirror and seeing that your value is not in what you do, but you have to go that layer deeper and find it in the being. Anyway, so my friend, she looks at me, she's like, don't. And I break and I'm like, fuck it, you're right. I can't. I have to rest more. So I do. I go back to bed. She goes out, and later on she sends me this voice message in which she celebrates the way I'm taking care of my body, the way I'm taking care of myself, the way that I'm listening to the rest that I need, the way that I'm showing up for myself, the way that I'm not pushing through, the way that I'm also not taking painkillers because I feel that the impeded movement is something to listen to. Like, I want to know what range of motion today for my body is right, instead of overrule it with painkillers and then maybe even cause more harm. On top of that, also, a very important piece of this is that one of the practices that I teach and that I also do use for myself is whenever there is a physical pain, I take time to, I always say sit on the mat, but you can do it anywhere, obviously, in your bed, in your sofa, whatever. But take time to sit with the pain and to really be with the pain, feel the pain, allow the pain to maybe give the message that it needs to give. Maybe it's words, maybe it's visuals, maybe it's ideas, there's always something inside the pain. Maybe it's only frustration and you just have to move through frustration. But that practice of sitting with pain instead of numbing it and pushing through it, it's so humbling, but it is also so beautiful. Because what happened for me when I did that, when I sat with my pain, I felt this deep, deep need for support. So deep, so humbling, that obviously I was sobbing like a baby. But all of a sudden, I felt all the mothers of the world before me and alive and dead and wherever, all the mothers of the world, I felt they came out to hold me and to tell me, it's okay, rest. Like, we got you. You can take this moment off of humaning. I mean, well, humaning. This is probably the essence of humaning, but you can take this moment off of grinding, of hustling. And I leaned into that image of all these wise women from all over the world, from all cultures, from all sizes and ages and colors and shapes and eras also. I allowed them to just stand around me and hold me and be with me in that very challenging, moment of feeling lack of support, because that was obviously, well, not obviously, but the tailbone is the root chakra, and that's all about safety and stability. So there was a very physical sensation, like a very physical lack of that. So these women, they hold me as I sat and cried through the pain that I was feeling. And having that experience is very healing, even though the pain was still there afterwards. It definitely softened, but also I'd had an experience that was so profound and so beautiful and so healing. Now, maybe sound way too woo-woo for you, but I do recommend the practice of sitting with your pain and seeing what comes up, and then also exploring how you can be there for you and hold yourself the way that you need to be held. So, rewind back to my friend's message where she is celebrating my capacity to rest and to listen to my body and to work with my body. And I write back to her saying, you cannot imagine how healing those words are right now. And she writes back to me, I just think you're amazing. And I write back to her, the ways you think I'm amazing, they crack me wide open. And by that I mean, the reasons why you think I'm amazing, that is exactly what I want to be loved for. And that was such an epiphany, to be seen and to be loved in a way that is in integrity with who I am and with what I want to stand for. And it brought the inspiration for this episode, because I want to ask you, what do you want to be loved for? Why? What reasons do you want people to think you're amazing for? Like, have you ever considered that? And also, the other way around, what are the reasons why you think your best friend or your partner or your sister is so amazing? What are those reasons? They're probably not because they're such a great hustler. Chances are that's because their heart is in the right place. So that's it for today. That's, the little inquiry that I want to give to you. Like, can you feel or like sit for a moment with this question? Like, what do I really want to be loved for? And is that in integrity with how I'm showing up? And the other way around as well. And you'll find probably that the reasons why you think somebody is amazing might be inspiring or sparking something in you that you would like to develop in yourself as well. Because the quality that I just named when I was describing how amazing I think my friend is, it's not about what she's achieving. It's about the way that she's showing up in life. It's about the way that she is doing what she needs to do right now to take care of herself. It's about she taking full responsibility and accountability for her life. It's about her having a dream, having a vision, knowing where she wants to go, and taking all the steps towards that goal. However different that in this moment her life looks to mine, I think it's super aspirational and beautiful and amazing. Yeah, curious to hear what this sparks in you. I hope some of it was inspiring. If anything, the books that I named, I highly recommend reading them. I love them. They're really helpful on my journey to, living a life more and more and more and more and more in integrity, in being closer to myself, loving myself more and better, and being loved for the things that I really, really care for. And I wish the same for you. that's it for today. If you really like the episode, share with a friend. If you have any questions or if you want to share something, you can do so by sending an email at love@emilieiris.com, or you can find me on Instagram. My handle is by.emilieiris, and I'm super happy to hear from you. Slide into my DMs. And there's also an online training that I'm developing. You can put yourself on the waiting list for that too, all in the show notes. And then I wish you a lovely rest of your day. Here's to loving and liberating one heart at a time.